everyone, it's Cheryl from Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds. We have finished our October themes and now we are moving into November, so I thought I'd share what we're going to be doing the first 2 weeks. But before I get to that, I just want to make sure that you are following Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and click on the bell icon, because as I publish more videos, you will get notified. You won't have to go searching for it. It'll come right to you. And another thing I want to talk about is some things that I have been hearing in my Facebook group that I thought I'd share. One of them is that this is the time of year when I like to refer to as the honeymoon period is ending. So you're starting to see more true personalities, am I right? And the children are starting to feel very comfortable, which means that you are probably noticing a little bit more behavior issues that you might not have seen at the beginning. I know that we've seen some new personalities develop, which is wonderful, but at the same time, we need to stay on top of it. And so sometimes, and this is a very good reminder, just when you think that you have your routine down and everything's going well, all of a sudden you will have that day where it's like, what is going on? It's like they forget how to do everything. When that happens, I like to scale back a little bit again. That means maybe we need to take a few steps back, which is not a negative thing. Maybe pull out a few things that I might have started getting a little overconfident and bringing more out than I should have. Again, make sure to continue observing what's going on in your classroom. You will want to do this year round, because at any time, things can change, and they do. So that's one thing that I've heard in the group. Another thing I've heard several times is that toddler teachers cannot believe that their children will not sit down and stay still. Now, I have to tell you, toddlers are not meant to just sit and listen. They are wired to be moving and exploring with their hands, all their 5 senses. You'll see them, they're busy. So to expect them to sit, especially for a specific amount of time, it's going to just be frustrating for you. So you need to remember that when you're setting up your activities, you're going to know that they're busy and they're probably not going to be staying in that spot for very long. That's why if you see a lot of the activities that I share, they're active activities where they can stand perhaps, so they can still move while they're doing it. Circle time at this point, we've been in school for almost 2 months. It's getting easier. They are coming when I sing it's time to come to the circle. When I sing that, they're coming. But they're not necessarily always as engaged as I might want them to be. Again, that's why I have my props. That's why I have my music. That's why I have my instruments, because if all else fails, turn on music, hand them a prop, get up and move. Works like a charm most times. Sometimes we just have to say, okay, we're just not going to do circle time. We're going to move on to the next thing. But that's where a lot of you are probably at right now. So just remember, 2 and young 3-year-olds are busy. They are meant to be moving and exploring, not to be sitting. So you need to think about that when you set up your day and when you set up your activities. You need to think of those little bodies and how they're moving all around, wanting to touch, 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 and really explore. So as I get towards the end of this video, I will show you what we're doing in each area of the room. But right now, I'm going to show you a few things up here. Our theme for November overall is fall. And so the first 2 weeks we're really focusing on leaves, and we're focusing on woodland animals. And so we're going to be doing a lot of going outside and noticing nature outside, bringing some leaves in, and then we have some activities, our printable activities and other activities that relate to that. And we also, in our dramatic play area, have a farmer's market, because we also focus on healthy foods during this month as well. So first of all, let me show you what books that we're going to be reading in the next 2 weeks. Jump into fall. 1, 2, 3. And we have Autumn in the Forest, which is a lift a flap book that they love. We're still going to be exploring some owls, so we'll have little owls 1, 2, 3, and Hoot, which is a fun book. In fact, I don't have the printable with me, but there's a printable I created to go with this book, and I'll drop a link in the video's description. And then, as far as music for this month, make sure to go to my Spotify, which I have made public. I'll drop a link in this video's description, and go to Teaching 2 and 3-year-olds November songs, and you will see what we will be singing and moving around with all these songs in this playlist here. So again, I'll have the link to this in the video description. I also wanted to share a fun CD that was given to me by my talented friend Nancy Kottman. I have shared her CDs before. This one is called I Am a Tree, and our 2-year-olds have absolutely loved her song These Are My Fingers, and also Tap Clap, Bump and Jump. So we will be taking some more of her songs the next 3 weeks and doing this as well. I love her CDs because she knows how to create music for our youngest children, and she knows how busy they are. So she taps into that with her songs. So I will drop a link to her CD, I Am a Tree, in the video description. All right, let me show you some of the printables that we're going to be using this month. Again, all the links are in this video's description. I'm often asked, where are they? Just go down to the description, you'll find them. These are our props that we use. We actually used these at the end of October as well. These are part of our fall props pack that just went on a couple of weeks ago in Teachers Pay Teachers. My daughter Rachel, oh my goodness, she has been such a huge help. She has been actually creating her own clip art. These are her ideas, and then she creates printables with them. And so these aren't they cute? These are the squirrels. And so you just put a little brad, they're 2 pieces, and you put a brad in there so it moves, and there's a brown squirrel and a gray squirrel, and then I just taped it to a jumbo popsicle stick. And then she also created these numbered squirrels that we use. I've been passing these out to the children, then they hold them while we sing squirrel, squirrel. And then we go and I tell them, what number is on your squirrel? And then we talk about what numbers are on each one. So this is a prop that we're going to be using in November, and it is part of the fall props packet that we have on Teachers Pay Teachers. And also in that packet, we have this rainbow leaf printable activity. And there's a lot of different ways that you can use this. I have cut them out and laminated them, and then I'm going to have pom-poms here, and then when they can put the same number of pom-poms on depending on what the number is. Another thing you could do during circle time is you can put these on the big popsicles, jumbo craft sticks, and you can hand each one to the children and say, who has a 1? Who has a 5? Or you can do it simply by color. Who has a blue leaf? So these are the different rainbow leaves that are part of the same prop packet that the squirrels are on. Again, that's on Teachers Pay Teachers. Links are in the description. And then I also have our colored leaves. These are circle time props, and these are free on my website, and I hand the children each a leaf, and we use this when we sing different leaf songs or read different leaf books. And then we ask the children, what color leaf do you have? So that is part of our circle time props. And then we also have these leaf count and clip cards, and these are also on my website. These are free, and I laminated them to make them more durable. They count how many leaves are on the card, and then they stick the clothespin on that number. We have our fall tracing activities. These are going to be at our writing table. This is a packet that's on Teachers Pay Teachers in our shop, and there's a whole bunch of different different fall outlines that they can trace, and then there's also the text that they can trace as well. And we have, out of our fall pom-pom packet, which is also on Teachers Pay Teachers, I pulled out the pumpkin pie and the leaf and the turkey, and then I'm going to get the matching colored pom-poms and they're going to put them on. So that's part of our fall pom-pom packet that is also on Teachers Pay Teachers. And my goodness, I've got a lot of printables for this month. We also have, this is a freebie on the blog. These are leaf shapes and they just match them by color and put them together like this. So they just find the matching color and they put them together. And one more printable that we have, this is a brand new packet on Teachers Pay Teachers that my daughter Rachel created. It is a farmer's market packet. And what she likes to do is she creates a little bit of everything. So not only do you have all kinds of signs, receipts, coupons, menus for your dramatic play area, but she also created extensions that you can do in other areas of your room as well. For example, she has this puzzle that you will put together by number. And when you put 1 through, this for the carrot, you put it 1 through 4, you will have the picture of the carrot. There's a potato, there's an apple. So it's different healthy foods. When they put them, the strips in numerical order, that makes the picture. That's a good counting and number recognition activity. She also has these matching cards where you just put the two together and there's different nutritious fruits and vegetables. So we're going to do this as a table activity. This is all part of that farmer's market packet. And then she also put together a counting activity so that you would just count how many eggs are on here, and then you put the number next to it. So she's put all of this into one packet. Again, this is on Teachers Pay Teachers. Link is in the description. As for art activities, one of the things we're going to be doing, as I mentioned earlier, is we'll be going on a nature walk, and we're going to be looking at the different colors that we see, especially in the trees, the different colored leaves. And I might even invite the children to bring leaves that they find from their home into the classroom so we can compare the sizes and the colors. But we'll also bring in some leaves that we find on our walk. And so we're going to be doing a collage where I have taken scraps of different construction paper in different fall colors. And this is going to be our first time working on gluing. And so this is going to be due to them as far as applying glue to paper. And we'll just use a piece of colored construction paper and then sticking the different colors onto that. So a lot of times the younger children, when they're first learning how to do this, they put the glue on, they stick the pieces on, and then they pull them all off. So it does take a while for them to understand we leave the pieces on. So that's what we're going to be doing there. And another activity that I love to do every year is I take these leaf shapes. Now I don't know if this particular shape is available anymore. I found this in our fall packet. If I find something, some kind of a shape, or like it's tissue paper in the shape of leaves, if I find something similar to this on Amazon, I'll drop a link in here. If not, get coffee filters. This is how we used to do it. And I would just cut them into leaf shapes. And then they're going to take a dropper. And I just posted something on the blog showing how we learned how to use droppers this year by putting black paint onto our spiders. So they're getting the hang of it, and now they're going to be dropping watercolors, liquid watercolors, onto the leaves. This year what I'm going to do is after they dry, I'm going to get a big sheet of contact sticky paper. I'm going to have them stick their colored leaves onto the contact paper, and then we're going to put it up on the window. I wanted to do something a little differently this year. So that is going to be a lot of fun, plus it's working on their fine motor skills. And another thing that we have is our What Color Is Your Leaf printable. This is on my website. I will drop a link in the description. We can just use this for just basic painting. We're also going to have it on our easel so they can paint it there as well. And then another thing that is a classic favorite, I get my bag of leaf cookie cutters, and they're going to dip these into paint, and they're going to just put these onto paper, different fall colors. They're just gonna stamp, stamp, stamp the leaves onto paper. And then another thing that we're going to be doing, I don't have it here, but it's using this same template. It is our friendship banner. I'll drop a link in the description. I love it because all the children decorate a leaf, and I have little tiny pom-poms that they're going to stick on it. And then we attach them with brads, and it says, I am thankful. And then it's our thankful banner, and then we will hang it in our classroom. So that's a lot of fun. We do that every year as well. Again, link to that is in the description. So now let me show you what the different centers that we have in our classroom. All right, so in our dramatic play area, as I mentioned, we have our farmers market taking place. And so we have fruits and vegetables, we have eggs, and we have our scales, and that you can see the printable behind it, weigh produce here. We have our cash register, pay here, and then the packet that I mentioned also comes with receipts that I laminated, some coupons, we've got some signs, and then we have these strips that have different words on them that I have on a pocket chart, and the extras are in that little pocket. And so that is in the dramatic play area as well, adding some literacy to the area. We have our dairy sign, and then we have our opened and closed sign. And then we will also have, and this is adding some fine motor to the dramatic play area, we have our shopping lists and receipts. And I laminated these so they can just use these with markers, and then we can just wipe them off. On our light table, we have some woodland animals, and we have some burlap, kind of burlap fabric leaves, and then we have our clear window blocks. And as I mentioned in many of my videos, not everything in our classroom is set up for our theme. I also like to tap into what the children are interested in, or I might be working on specific skills. In this case, the children have really been enjoying cars, and they've been using our tabletops to run the cars on. So I decided to add the cars to our train table, and then we have different ramps, and then the children can also add our unit blocks and build whatever they would like. Our sensory table is another example of not necessarily being with the theme. On the end of last week, I switched this out before we actually switched the room out from the theme, because they were I felt they needed something new. So I had my rice that I had dyed different. You can see it there. They're different fall colors, and then I mixed them all up. And then I added, as the children were here, I poured it into the sensory bin and thought, you know, they're really loving to pour. So I got these funnels I got from IKEA. They're wonderful. I love the handles on them. And then I got our hollow blocks, and they fit right in there. So I observed what the children would do with this, and they loved scooping the rice using little measuring cups, and we also have some plastic scoops and some little clear cups, and they then scooped the rice into the funnels, and then they would fall into the hollow blocks. And they loved the sound that it made as the rice fell too. So this is a great fine motor activity. And then there is our reading corner, and we have our fall books out there. We also have more books that we keep in baskets that are for circle time. And then we have our felt letters that have Velcro on the back that the children have been enjoying putting onto the flannel board. And then over here at the writing table, which is adjacent to our reading area, I forgot to mention that another part of our farmers market packet are these fine motor strips. So I cut them apart and laminated them so they can just use markers. And it's just working on moving from left to right, following the dashed lines and curves. And then we also have the fall tracing packet that I mentioned. Those are over here as well. And also the what color is your leaf? The one I showed at the easel, that is in our writing area as well, and then we'll also provide some other color markers. And in the corner of our room, we have our science area, and we are going to be exploring squirrels. I brought our tree blocks and some things from outside, some pine branches, and then I have some nets that I have in sealed jars. I used hot glue to seal them closed, because we have little ones in this classroom and I do think about choking, and so I thought they could see them through in the jars, which of course they love to shake. They love the way it sounds when they shake it. And then we have this matching printable. Now this is part of our fall prop set on Teachers Pay Teachers. There are squirrels that are numbered 1 to 10, and then there are acorns that are numbered 1 to 10, and then they just match them up. So this is an activity that we started last week that we will continue to do, and then those are some squirrels up there that also come in the packet that I attached to the wall. So that's how we have our classroom set up for our fall theme, highlighting our dramatic play area that's our farmers market, and then including farmers market printables and other areas of the classroom as we talk about nutritious foods. And then we'll be going outside. You can see all those beautiful colors out there, so we can look at the different colored leaves and we can bring some inside and do some fun art activities. Thanks for watching.